Lord bless everyone, and we want to start today a study on the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew chapter 1, verse 1 says, "The scroll, or the book, of the ancestry, genealogy, family tree, lineage, generation of Jesus, the Messiah, Christ, anointed one, the Son, the kinship of David, the Son, the kinship of Abraham." Matthew starts his gospel by telling us that Jesus is a descendant of both David and Abraham. Remember, Abraham was given the promise, "From your descendants I will bless the whole world." This is found in Genesis. Let's go to Genesis chapter 12. It says, "In your seed, in you, all the nations." Look at this. This is in Genesis 12, verses 1 to 3. "And the Lord had said to Abram, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. In thee, in your seed, I will bless all the families of the world." And God also gave a promise to David that one of his descendants was going to have a kingdom that was never to be taken away from him. He was going to rule forever. This was when David himself wanted to build God a house. And God told him, "You're not going to build me a house, but I am going to do something to you. I'm going to have your son build me a house. And your descendants, one of them, will be ruling forever." I believe this is 1 Samuel. It's in 2 Samuel, It's in 2 Samuel. It's in chapter 7. It says this. In verses 12 until verses 15. Forgive me for taking so long. Sometimes I don't even prepare the message before giving them out. It just comes from my mind. "And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers." This is verse 12 to verse 15 of chapter 7 of 2 Samuel. "And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels. And I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish his throne of his kingdom forever. I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commits iniquity, I will change to him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee." Notice, verse 16 says, "And thy house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever." How can the throne of David be established forever? Except by one king, one descendant, and that is the Messiah, Jesus Christ. He is the one that descended, and the promises of that he was going to build a house. And he did. He built the house of Christianity, if you want to say. Christianity comes from Jesus. Jesus is the Messiah, the anointed one. He is the descendant of both David and Abraham. And we're going to look at this genealogy. Hopefully, we're going to at least do most of the genealogy today. If not, we'll continue next program with the genealogy of Jesus. But hopefully, we'll finish today or most of it today. Let's play a song. And we will play the song, "Open My Eyes That I May See."
Open my eyes that I may see glimpses of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hands the wonderful key that shall unclasp and set me free. Silently now I wait for thee. Ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my eyes, illumine me. Spirit divine, open my ears that I may hear voices of truth thou sendest here. And while the wave notes fall on my ear, everything false will disappear. Silently now I wait for thee. Ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my ears, illumine me. Spirit divine, open my mouth and let me bear gladly the warm truth everywhere. Open my heart and let me prepare love with thy children thus to share. Silently now I wait for thee. Ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my heart, illumine me. Spirit divine.
Okay, and we go to verse 2 of Matthew chapter 1. Just letting you know, I don't have my notes. Many times I don't write notes. I try to cram everything in my head, and that's what happens. Okay, Matthew chapter 1 verse 2 says, Abraham was the father of Isaac. Or it could be translated, Abraham begat Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. And Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. In 1 Chronicles 1, 27, 28, it tells us, and Abram, who is Abraham. The sons of Abraham were Isaac and Ishmael. We also see in 1 Chronicles 2, verses 1 and 2 says, these were the sons of Israel, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. Okay, now, when we come to the Bible, we're not coming to people that are perfect, people who got everything right. We're going to see these men in the chronological order of that it is. And first of all, Matthew did his chronological order, and he puts it in 14 generations. And in one case, he skips 3 people. So to put it perfectly in 14, 14, and 14. Why does he do that? Because 14 is the number of David. So it's kind of poetic, if you want to say. Anyway, we see that, like I said before, these are not perfect men. Abraham was a sinful man just like David was, just like Jacob was. Jacob stole his brother's birthright. Judah, he slept with his daughter-in-law thinking she was a prostitute. These men are not perfect men. Jacob made mistakes. And so did Abraham, the father of the faith. Everywhere he went, he said about his wife, "This is my sister." By the way, I could relate to what he did. For those who have SSI, I'm going to be honest with you. Since I was struggling with my nerves and I ended up with SSI. SSI has this thing that they tell you, well, we won't take away your SSI money, or you won't see no difference in your SSI money, Social Security money, or disability money if you tell us that you're married. But let us know if you're married or you made any changes. We won't make no differences in your check. And then once you tell them, I just got married, they take half of the person's check and the other person's check. And if you both got SSI, you living off of one paycheck. And that's evil. They're extremely evil. So me and my late wife, when we used to go to these offices, I used to say, she's my sister. And she used to say, he's my brother. And it came to a point that we even went to the therapist's office, and I would say, she's my sister. And she would say, he's my brother. After my late wife passed away, I had to tell my therapist, you know my sister? She was really my wife. I played the Abraham on you. And boy, you should have seen his face. He was shocked that she was not my sister. She was actually my wife. Anyway, I think this is another story from Mr. Kakalides' story time. Boy, I got stories. Stories from real life and stories from a cartoonish mindset. Anyway, let's continue. Verse 3. Judah was the father of Perez and Zerah by Tamar. Tamar was a Canaanite. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Tamar, she was his daughter-in-law. She was Judah's daughter-in-law. 1 Chronicles 2 verses 3 and 4 gives us a summary. The sons of Judah were Onan, and Shelah. These three were born to him by the daughter of Shula, the Canaanite. The firstborn of Judah, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, so he killed him. And Tamar, his daughter-in-law, bore him Perez and Zerah. All the sons of Judah were 5. So we see Judah having his children from his daughter-in-law. If you read the story in Genesis, you find out he believed her to be a prostitute. And he mistaken her for a prostitute. That's how he got involved with her. And she ended up having twins. And we don't see a perfect genealogy. You expect that the people of the Bible live perfect lives. Well, you're wrong if you expect them that they lived perfect lives. They were sinners just like you and me. They were men with imperfections. They were women with imperfections. And they needed to be redeemed just like you. You know how the people in the Old Testament got redeemed? They looked forward to the Messiah. And you know how we get redeemed? We look backwards to the Messiah, what the Messiah did on the cross. They will look forward to what the Messiah was going to do, and we look backwards what the Messiah had done in the crucifixion. So it's important for us to know that if God could use these sinful persons, and he could put them in the genealogy of Jesus, he could use you and me. That is very important to understand. Keep it in your mindset. God uses sinful people to do his purpose. He doesn't use people that are perfect, people that are sinless, because sinless people don't exist. Only one who existed that was sinless was Jesus, because he was God and man. and he is our redemption. Let's go to another song, and we're going to go to the song, I'd Rather Have Jesus.
I'd rather have Jesus than silver or gold. I'd rather be his than have riches untold. I'd rather have Jesus than houses or lands. I'd rather be led by his nail-pierced hand than to be the king of a vast domain, or be held in sin's dread sway. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this world affords today. I'd rather have Jesus than men's applause. I'd rather be faithful to his dear cause. I'd rather have Jesus than worldwide fame. I'd rather be true to his holy name than to be the king of a vast domain, or be held in sin's dread sway. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this world affords today. He's fairer than lilies of rarest bloom. He's sweeter than honey from out of a comb. He's all that my hungering spirit needs. I'd rather have Jesus and let him lead than to be the king of a vast domain and be held in sin's dread sway. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this old world affords today.
Hallelujah. We see Ram was the father of Abimadab. Abimadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Okay, and then we read that Salmon was the father of Boaz by Rahab. This Rahab is the prostitute Rahab that helped the two spies in the book of Joshua. This is another Gentile woman in the genealogy of Jesus. it's awesome to know that there are some Gentile women in the genealogy of Jesus. There are 3 women mentioned by name in this genealogy, and these 3 women are Gentiles. One is Rahab, the other one was Tamar, and the third one, I forgot what was the third one's name. Let's hold on one second. But there are 3, if I'm not mistaken. The 3 women is Ruth. The third one is Ruth. How could I forget Ruth? It's right in my face. Okay. It happens when you're recording live. You forget things. Anyway. So, Boaz was the father of Obed by Ruth. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of David, the king. What was Ruth? Ruth was a Moabite. She was not Jewish. David, the king, was the father of Solomon. By her, who had been the wife of Uriah. Now, what do we see here? We see another imperfect man, David. He killed the husband of Bathsheba. And because of that, because he killed her husband, she ended up, before that, she was pregnant of David. David was not in war when he was supposed to, and he was looking on the roof of his house, and he saw this lady bathing, and he fell into lust. And he slept with someone's wife. She became pregnant, and David had her husband killed in battle so he could stay with her. David lost the first child that she was pregnant of, but then she had a second child, which was Solomon. Again, we see imperfect people. We see sinful people in the genealogy of Jesus. There's no one perfect. If you're looking for someone perfect, you won't find him. We're sinful people, and the Bible is about sinful persons, but is about redemption of these sinful people. And how is that redemption? Through Jesus Christ, of course. Let's hear another song. I think this is a good one. There is a fountain. I love this one.
There is a fountain filled with blood drawn from Emmanuel's veins, and sinners plunged beneath that flood lose all their guilty stain.
sins away. Redeeming love has been my theme and shall be till I die.
Hallelujah. Praise you, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Let's read 2 Samuel 11, verse 26 to 27. It says, When the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when her mourning was over, David sent and brought her to his house, and she became his wife. 2 Samuel 12:24. Then David comforted Bathsheba, his wife. He comforted her because of the loss of the first son, and went into her and laid with her. So she bore a son, and he called his name Solomon. Now the Lord loved him. The Lord loved Solomon. And Solomon was not a perfect lad either. Solomon had many wives and many concubines. And in his old age, he left the walk of God. So we don't see perfect people. We see people that are sinful. And people that needed to be redeemed just like us. And this is the amazing thing about it. Let's continue. Verse 7 says, Solomon was the father of Rehoboam, and Rehoboam was the father of Abijah, and Abijah was the father of Asa. Again, Asa wasn't a perfect person. He did commit some sin. And if you look at the lives of Rehoboam, he wasn't perfect either. He wasn't a perfect king. None of these kings were perfect. But yet, they needed to be redeemed. And they were redeemed through faith in the Messiah. Not every one of them was redeemed, but they were chosen to be in the genealogy of Jesus. We want to leave the program here. And tomorrow we'll continue the genealogy. And we're about in verse 8 of Matthew chapter 1. And that's what we're going to continue. Lord bless you, and I'll see you in the next program of Mr. Kakalides and the Bible Podcast. Lord bless. Bye.